Okay, welcome back. So, the next thing I want to talk about is a little bit about the position and movement of these storm systems. All right, the position and movement of these storm systems. So, for this exercise, we're going to be focusing on this mid-latitude cyclone right here. So, in the center is a low pressure with a pressure value of 998 millibars. Extending to the east, we have a tiny little warm front. Extending to the south, we have a cold front. I'm going to ask you a few questions about all of this rain here, where it is relative to the front. Remember, the spikes point towards the ahead of the front area, and then behind, that's behind the front. So there's all this precipitation ahead of the front. And if you actually take a look, and I know it's kind of hard to see on this map because there's so much going on, but the dew points ahead of this map, or ahead of this front, are pretty high. St. Louis has a dew point of 68. Chicago, I know you can barely see that, has a dew point of 70. Dallas has a dew point of 71. Meanwhile, as soon as you get behind this front, the temperatures don't drop a whole lot. They drop a tiny bit, but I should also mention 12Z is around 5 a.m. West Coast time, so this area should be cooler anyway, but these dew points are a lot lower. So dew points of 64, 57, 51, 44. So even though this front isn't giving us much cooler air, it is giving us drier air. That's very typical for a summertime cold front. Summertime cold fronts give us maybe a little bit of cooling, but they also dry the air out. All right, now let's actually talk about this low pressure system right here. So, where is this low pressure system going to be moving? Well, the answer to that could actually be found by looking at higher winds. So, 500 and 300 millibar winds act almost like a freeway for these storm systems. And these blue lines act almost like a stream. So if I were to actually draw, and I'll do this here, use the highlighter. If I were to actually draw streamlines, basically just lines of how the wind is moving, the lines would look kind of like this. If you actually take a look at the wind barbs, they actually kind of confirm that. Over here, the winds were blowing from the southwest, then they shifted to due west, then northwest, and then back to southwest. And if I were to continue doing that, you can think of each one of these pairs of lines as almost like a lane. And see what's happening here. If you actually take a look, this low pressure system is in a lane that's going to take it in a pretty precarious direction. So as you're beginning to think about what direction this low pressure is looking at, or is moving, look at the direction of this stream. How the wind is blowing right at that elevation, and that should give you a really good idea of where the low pressure is moving and what to expect.